In my previous video, talking about the ProGCC 4, the repairable controller, since then there have been some new developments, and I basically gave up on this design. So I put it aside, and I wanted to focus on something else. I was inspired by a new idea, and what I had seen was an open source keyboard switch, which was a maglev keyboard switch. And what that means is you have two magnets and a Hall effect sensor in between, and the two magnets oppose each other, giving a spring force. And so you kind of solve a few problems with something that's very simple mechanically and electronically. There's no contact pad to wear out. There's no tactile switch to wear out. And then there's some other interesting things that you can do with that because the magnets provide an analog signal to the Hall effect sensor. And so you're seeing this new gamepad design, and I actually designed not one but two new gamepads since I put a pause on the ProGCC 4. And so this gamepad, underneath all the face buttons and the triggers are Hall effect sensors. And so you can do some interesting things with that. Let me show you the configuration software. So you get your inputs as normal. You can see the inputs visualized here. And not only do these work as normal buttons, but these actually have an analog sensitivity to them. So you can do rapid trigger and other things that you can normally only do with Hall effect switches. There was a lot of feedback on the previous video, and people were saying, Hall effect triggers would make this perfect. And lo and behold, this has a Hall effect trigger, and you get a good 20 degrees of motion here, so a little bit extra. And not only are these two triggers analog, but these top bumpers are analog as well, although you only have 2.75 degrees of motion. Although it's still a substantial press, so you can still get some sensitivity out of these. So this thing is very configurable, just like the ProGCC 4. It has a magnetic faceplate, and it operates on a lot of the same principles and parts inside, where it has the replaceable stick modules, it has the replaceable stick gates, so I've got the octagonal shapes here. And of course, the rear grip buttons and Bluetooth and all the sort. So this is what I've been working on in the meantime. I will have more information on these controllers in the months to come. This is still very much in a design process that is not done. Same thing for this little guy. I will have another video when I'm ready showing off these features. This also has rear grip buttons. There's some more interesting things that I would like to do with the D-pad here because it is a split D-pad. But now that these have analog signals to them, there's some things that I want to play with the D-pad that can make it feel really nice to use. But one more thing on these buttons is that with the new software, you can have rapid trigger on each one of these buttons since they're all analog signals. So as an example, this B button, I have a delta set to 682, and it's operating on a 12-bit ADC. So when you push the button down, as soon as it passes a distance threshold of 682, the button press turns on. And basically, as soon as you release it, the button state turns off. And so it makes it very easy to get consistent and pretty quick button presses with this. And the best part is that it will never wear out because there's no spring, there's no membrane, there's no golden contact pad to get dirty. And of course, we have the TMR joystick modules, which work exactly how you'd expect them to work. So the only things that aren't Hall effect on this are these menu buttons, which I did go with a silicone capped tactile switch that is rated for several million presses, and then these rear grip buttons. So besides that, there's no springs to wear out, and these joystick modules, which can wear out, are very easily swapped for a pretty inexpensive cost. So that's what I've been working on. Back on the topic of the ProGCC 4, I have started work on this design. Once again, you can see I've damaged the prototype here. But these triggers will be revamped to use the same Hall effect system that you see here. The face buttons and D-pad will also be revamped to use the same maglev technology. And a lot of the rest of the design is going to largely remain the same because the ergonomics of this thing are just awesome. I really like the ergonomics of this Wii U style as well. I thought this was super fun to put together, and hopefully this will be something in a Kickstarter that we can do sometime in 2026 after we wrap up a couple other projects. But that's what we're working on. I will have my Twitter in the description. That's where you can get updates on when I post about these sorts of things, and you can stay up to date with the progress on that. So thanks for watching.